All right.
You had 4 seconds to drink that before we started. I don't know why you're drinking it.
I know, but I was a little parched. It's hotter here in Texas. So, so I'm expecting that since the last time we chatted, you've gotten another movie on DVD, the Vampires in Alaska movie. You got to be on the search for that. But
there may or may not have been a delivery in my mailbox today of multiple DVDs because I was fleshing out my collection. I did not buy 30 Days a Night.
You're still getting over the whole Netflix not having DVD thing. So, but that's for
it's an adjustment.
As many things are for you. But as diverse as like our taste in films, because you watch 5 documentaries a day?
Not quite that many, no. I actually watched a really good old drama last night, but we are not going to talk about that also, but another time.
Just to liven things up, I thought maybe we could talk about what's on your nightstand, like what kind of books we're reading, right?
Because I assure you it's going to be very dichotomous, if that's a word. It's be a lot of different. This is going to be
quite the contrast in reading materials. First, I think anybody who sees this is going to go, wait a minute, he knows how to read? That's impressive.
And that you have paper books, because you really come off as an electric book person, which
I read the Steve Jobs book. I read the Steve Jobs book on my iPad because I just felt it was appropriate, right? But other than that, I don't think I've really read anything on I still enjoy the texture of a book, and as you'll see, I have to have a pencil, a pen, a mark, a highlighter, sticky notes. I gotta be able to go through a book and go, okay, how am I going to remember this? How am I going to remember that?
Why do you have to remember everything in your book? What? It's a story. You read books for stories. I don't know why you need to highlight.
All right. Well, let's get down.
Let's start and find out why that's an issue.
Right. First of all, just look. Not only do I have books, but they're big, heavy books.
See, yeah, I'm not sure how you could be reading that many books simultaneously.
Well, here's the challenge. I really can't read books simultaneously. So I can't keep all of that going in my head from one to another. So what I do is I get a book. Oops. What did I just?
And then we throw said book.
Oh, this is my Marta Breeze card, which since I don't live in Atlanta, X is a bookmark.
Okay.
But I
So clarify, where do you buy all your books? Amazon?
At your local friendly Amazon? Unless I absolutely need it right now, and then I'll go to what's that called? Barnes and Noble.
What's that called? It's a bookstore.
We used to have this in Borders. We don't have Borders anymore. We barely have. Remember, like when we were kids, you go to the mall and there's a bookstore, and like, holy cow!
I know, but you know what they have now? Plug for the independent bookstore, ABE Books. Check it out. It is the best. You can buy anything. Like Abe.
Okay, there's a little problem there.
What?
ABE doesn't come next.
Okay, well, I don't know what it stands for, but it's been called ABE Books since the beginning of time, and they let you buy used and new books, and it supports local small businesses, independent booksellers, and you can buy pretty much anything on there. I buy very few books from Amazon. I do like bookstores. I do like antique stores, and I come up with things, but ABE Books, once you go, if you are a book person, you will be addicted. You can buy stuff that's out of print. You can buy all kinds of stuff.
What's the name of that bookstore I really love in Portland? What's that one?
Oh, is that the one where you got me that funny little book?
Yeah.
Or how not to get murdered in a small Victorian town or something?
Yeah. Oh, Powell's bookstore. That place I love. Every time I go to Portland, I'll go to Powell's. That one just... I'll buy books there and then cart them all the way home on an airplane. So, but all right.
That's saying a lot for you to cart home heavy things in your luggage.
I took
that's a lot.
The Freddie Mercury book. I forget which one I bought, but I bought a Freddie Mercury book. It went from Portland to Dallas to London to Liverpool before being handed off.
Yes, I remember when you gave that one.
It was like a week, and it was like 600 pages. Somebody to Love, or something. I don't know. There's a story of.
It was a big book. I read that one too. Actually, I loaned it out to somebody.
Like the parallel of the AIDS pandemic. And
yes, it was amazing.
Yes. And then this is my look, I have Pearl Harbor. I wonder where I got this one. Pearl Harbor bookmark.
Oh.
And we know where I got that. But this book is called this is a scintillating tale. It's called by Andrew Chen. How to Start and Scale Network Effects: The Cold Start Problem by Andrew Chen. And
is that about
it's a
science?
page turner. It's about how you create social networks that work. So like how did Uber work, right? And was what we have as Uber today the first iteration? Or like they tell a story about how Tinder first started and where they found people to be in the atomic network to get it to grow. It's a, Airbnb, how did that happen? VRBO. I mean, it's really, it's actually a pretty good book. I'm about 3/4
There's a lot of Post-it notes hanging out of that puppy.
Well, what happened was I read up to here. I read up to about here. No, I read up to about there. And then I was taking a drive. So I bought the book on tape version and listened to it on my way to Houston. So I am about 3/4 of the way through it. So that is at the top of my list. And I really have to finish that one sooner than any of the others. What's first top up on yours?
I have a couple books going and I have some suggestions for the viewers, but my current book that I have been engrossed in for a while is
Muppets.
Jim Henson. It's a biography by this fabulous guy named Brian J. Jones. And I bought this. I don't even remember what inspired me. I probably watched something and I was like, I should buy a biography. And so I did. And but he also wrote a biography about David Bowie, which I also purchased, which is about 1 million pages. So that's going to be forever. But right now, I've just gotten to where they have finally gotten the start of the Muppet Show. But it's interesting to see the development of characters and how he developed the different puppets and all that stuff, and which ones were closest to his heart.
Do you know the Snuffleupagus origin story then?
There isn't a big like origin story, but I do know that Frank Oz did not like the full body puppets because he did one and he was like, no, not again. And Jim was like, but he's like, no.
Get me out of this bird suit.
So, Frank Oz is obviously the other side of the Muppets, Muppets Inc. But it talks about his personal life and his children and his growing up, and it's just really, really interesting. Like I said, he had a great uncle named Ernie. One of his friends.
I wonder what that led to.
One of his friends was actually named Kermit. Kermit the Frog is not actually named for his friend. Kermit was actually a popular name in the first half of the 20th century. One of Teddy Roosevelt's sons was named Kermit. It actually was a popular name. Now it's all associated with a frog, but it was like a normal name for normal people. It was an older type name. But Jim Henson liked words that sounded like what they were. At the beginning of the book, there's a really interesting passage about how his favorite blackbird was the grackle because he just liked the word. So he liked words that had fun sounds. He liked like hard consonants. So he likes Kermit and grackle and things like that. It's just, I just read a passage last night was talking about how he wasn't really, he didn't really smoke weed or anything. I mean, he was coming up like in the 60s and stuff, but he's got one of those like minds that was just all over the place. He tried LSD once and he's like, it didn't work. He was just like, so all that stuff, he's like sober. He was a Christian Scientist. Also, interesting fact. Yeah. Wow. Look at that information. That just took your breath away there. I was like,
all right, speaking of information, now my next book that I'm still working on, and yes, I've been working on this one so long that I had it on an airplane because
look at that fancy bookmark.
The bookmark is actually a barf bag off an airplane. Is the CompTIA Security Review Guide.
Oh, Jesus.
This is another real page turner. Let me tell you.
Like, do you just really have these to help you? Is this like sedatives? Like, is this just to help you sleep?
I tend to read. I'm good for like 5 or 6 pages, and then I tend to doze off. Yeah, but that one, there's a test that I can take when I'm done with it.
Oh, a test.
Yes.
Is it about like dry pasta or something, like something scintillating?
No, it's about cybersecurity. So so I'll get to that. I mean, look, I'm halfway through the Google certifications, and I took another certification last week. But this one, it's a thick book. I mean, it's not one you can really get through osmosis, and it's about, let's see, if you get rid of the appendix, it's about 600 pages of real ones and zeros.
Yeah, it looks like
talk about worms.
It looks like a doorstop.
Yeah, they talk about worms, yet there's no farming in the book.
I would read a book about worm farming, but I would not read that book.
All right, what's next up on your?
This one I had almost finished, and then I got into my Jim Henson. This is called Going Up the Country. It's about how the hippies took over Vermont. Lots of information about Bernie Sanders, my favorite socialist. But it is interesting in talking about the commune time, like times when they were building up, and like the societies that still exist out there, and just the very chillness of Vermont. And to show off, you had your Pearl Harbor bookmark. So inside this book is my one like purchased bookmark ever that I've had forever, because it's my favorite thing in the world. Do you see what that is?
Is it the Chrysler Building?
It is the Chrysler Building, because I love the Chrysler Building so much.
In a city that you hate to go to.
Yes, I was there once, and I got to see the Chrysler Building, and that made it all okay, because I was like, oh, thank God. The Chrysler Building is my favorite building in the whole world. Actually, that whole street has a lot of really great Art Deco buildings, so I don't know why they have the rest of the city with those boring buildings, because it should just all be Art Deco.
Let's see here.
What else you have from your nightstand?
I have a book that I have not started yet that you're going to be very upset, because you can tell the story of this book.
Oh, Bill Bryson. Oh, my God. He's great. Have you ever read any of his stuff?
Who sent this to me?
I didn't send that to you.
Yeah, you did.
I did?
Yeah, before one of our trips.
Oh, Bill Bryson's amazing.
As a matter of fact, wow, look here. I've got my, wow. Yeah, you gave me this book. As a matter of fact, my bookmark is the Sunny Afternoon theater ticket from when we saw Sunny Afternoon in London.
I don't remember sending it to you, but I'm upset now that you haven't seen it, because if you have that bookmarking it, that means it's from 2016.
Yeah.
So you're behind in your reading. Bill Bryson's amazing.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Bill Bryson's amazing. Walk in the Woods is great. The movie they did, as much as I love Nick Nolte and Robert Redford, that movie was a train wreck. The book is amazing. The movie was, yeah. Anyway, now this actually goes back to another video. I don't know if we posted that video or not, but this is a classic in things that, and I keep this for just when I want a little story. So you can't see the title, but this is Uncle Remus stories. So it's got great like woodcut.
Your book on race.
No, it's got like great woodcut. Like look at the illustrations; those are great of like Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox, and sometimes you just want to.
It's a classic.
It is. So I mean, I just have it like, and I buy children's books because A, I love the stories, and B, usually are fun illustrations. Like I said, these have nice like woodcuts in them, so they're very fun. I'm gonna lose my page, and I'm gonna be very sad.
Wow.
Woo!
Okay, on this book, I'm on page 95. I got a flying saucer, which doesn't exist anymore in Addison, Texas.
I thought it was a book about flying saucers. I got all excited for you.
No. The former manager's, because it's closed, his car. And lo and behold, it's another gift from Kirstin. And I've seen the movie, but this is the original.
God, you started reading that like 3 years ago. And I told you there's a couple really great chapters that didn't make it into the book that are magnificent. The one where they buy there's a ex-wife who's selling the husband's record collection, like, for nothing. It's such a great scene. I was so sad they didn't put it in the movie.
I mean, part of the problem with reading the book is if you've seen the movie, you've got the characters in your head. So
it still works.
Oh, I'm sitting here going, no. First of all, Jack Black does not have an English accent working in an English record store.
Because they decided to put the movie in Chicago, or yeah. Right. So, but like I said, the screenplay actually follows the book really closely, but there are some specific things they left out that weren't story, that didn't drive the story forward, but they were just great little bits.
So I think what's going to happen after this is you're going to reconsider if you ever buy me a book for a gift again.
I'm never buying you a book again, because clearly the books I buy you to try and widen your horizons just sit there.
I will get to them eventually. Retire. What else you got?
This is what I'm going to get to. It's on my pile of things I haven't started. Things that I buy just because the title is amazing and then it's going to teach me something. So, hang on, I got to read it specifically. It says, "Come on shore and we will kill and eat you." A New Zealand story. So it's about the people who tried to take over New Zealand, and they were going to cannibal them up. I have not read this yet.
In that movie, is it Taika Waititi in that book?
No, but I'm wondering if I don't know if he's aware of the book, but I mean, it may be worth making into a film if he's ever so inclined.
Is it a comedy? Because his drama, I mean, he's much more of a comedy. True.
I mean, I'm not sure how. After I read it, I'll call Taika and let him know if it's screenplay worthy. I have read the book that he based Jojo Rabbit on. A lot darker than the film.
Well,
didn't I buy you that book too? No.
Yes.
I did.
But I read that one and it's on a shelf somewhere.
Oh, okay.
It was poetry. It was poems. It was easy.
No. That's not. That's the poetry that was discussed in Jojo Rabbit. There's a whole book that the film is based on, which is in my collection. I won't buy you that book.
Okay.
It's not nearly as funny as the movie.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's one. I was really excited. I saw this on the news. What am I using for a bookmark in here? Oh, well, that's where that went. The instructions for the microphone that I use are the little brochure is the bookmark in this one.
Oh.
I'm on page 61. When did this one come out? This was published in the last couple of years, 2023, so about a year ago. I saw it on the news. It's called Poverty by America, and it's about the poverty situation in America and how we could not have poverty if we really put our minds to it.
You know how we would get rid of poverty? Put Bernie in charge.
Well,
he would take care of it.
He would work hard, but I'm not sure that others would allow him to achieve his
goal.
It's why he didn't get elected president.
They tie his hands.
It is so Matthew Desmond wrote this book, and what I recall of it, since it's probably been 8 months since I picked it up, was that he experienced this homeless situation and really got into what is some of the root causes of homelessness and poverty and how to fix it. So that one I'll probably get back to pretty quick. What else?
Almost document. This one I have read. This is a selection I pulled out to show the readers what kind of strange books that I will buy if you put them on a secondhand shelf, because I bought this at an antique store as I'm checking for $7. It is called Giants, the Dwarfs of Auschwitz. Written by the extraordinary story of the Lilliput troop.
As we transition from Kirstin's last book, or discussing Taika Waititi's book that Jojo Rabbit is based on, which is all about Nazis,
move right into Auschwitz.
Now we're going to Auschwitz. All right, I can see the arc of literary journey.
It's super interesting. I love biographies. I love stories about people who have lived interesting lives, and it's crazy cool. I mean, it talks about how, obviously getting transported to camps and all that, but talking about also the Romani and the gypsies being done, and the dwarfs and stuff. But they were all spared, and they all lived. They were taken in later years, and but very, very interesting, and talking like firsthand stories because they were talking to one of the ladies who was still alive when the book was done. But when you're just like scanning a shelf of books, and I'm like, what's that? And I'm like, my goodness, doesn't that sound like something I need to know about? Yes. That's
Little
a yes.
people in concentration camps. Okay.
Right.
This was a gift. A friend of mine went to the Salesforce convention. Oh, who's, let's see. I got a bookmark here from Suffolk University in Boston, somebody's business card. That must be an
important business.
No, I must have been at my last job when I got this one. But it is Surrender by Bono.
You were supposed to give me that book. You've not finished it yet.
You may get this before I finish it. What am I seeing?
Apparently, it's a page turner.
Well, again, look, I have trouble reading at night just because I get tired after like 5 or 6 pages. So it could take me a long time to get through a book. Just saying.
I do like rock and roll type.
Yes, you do.
Biographies. I have read Slim Jim Phantom's biography. I read.
Told him you did.
I'm glad you told him that I read his book. I was very excited.
I'm looking at my watch going, let's see, it's 1 o'clock here. Will Kirsten be upset if we wake her up at 4 a.m.? And then I realized the phone wasn't near you anyway, so you would have never.
I don't have my phone. But yeah, I've read.
If I'm away without you somewhere, you should always have your phone at the ready.
I've read Sting's biography. Very, very interesting. Billy Idol's biography. Know a lot more about drug use than I used to. That was enlightening. I actually have a John Mellencamp book I haven't started. I picked that up somewhere for a couple bucks. I still have to read the Phil Collins one. I have that one, the one that you're mentioned on page whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's on the shelf.
There you go.
I've also read Tommy Lee's book. Very good. Very funny. Another like education about drug use because I don't know.
And I'm sure there's a fair amount of sex in that book. So.
I don't recall. It's been a while since I read it, but it is still on the shelf. It's in the library here for future use or rereading should that become necessary.
How many more you got?
I just got one more. So this one I've also read again. I'm going to throw this out there as a reader suggestion called The Lost Tribe of Coney Island, Headhunters, Luna Park, and the Man Who Pulled Off the Spectacle of the Century. I mean, if you're just scanning a shelf, like who's not picking this book up?
Well, okay. So now, wait, I used to work in Coney Island. So what kind of tribe are you talking about?
This is talking about how someone put on display like native people, like in the Coney Island area. Like they created
or they took actual Native Americans and
not Native Americans, like people from like New Guinea. Like it's been a while since I read it, so you have to excuse me for not having all the information. I didn't prep, but he had on display like traditional village, and they showed it was like I think it started, as I recall, it was part of like the World's Fair, and then he kind of moved it to Coney Island, and it was under the premise of like teaching people about other cultures, but it got a little shady. But I mean, they put Headhunters in the subtitle, so I was all in at that point.
All right, let's round it out. Now, this book, the bookmark.
I like how we have to do the bookmarks on yours.
Well, okay. You see this bookmark? What's that bookmark?
A library card? I don't know. What is that? Oh, that's our Royal Caribbean.
So when was the last time I cracked this book open? Sometime around the cruise.
Around the cruise in 2022.
Yeah, something like that. I read this because the gentleman who was my new leader swore by it, and I'd read it previously, and I went back to revisit it, and then we parted ways anyway. So this has been sitting around, not finishing that one, and then finally,
you didn't show us the book. You showed us the bookmark.
Oh, sorry, Gap Selling, another real page turner.
Page turner.
Let me tell you, I read the most relaxing books.
Do you not read about the human experience?
I do. I saved the best for last. This is all about the human experience. Oh, wait, I've got a bookmark in here. I have a bookmark in here.
Again, the bookmark is the most important part of this.
Now this
memories.
Okay, now this is really weird where I left off and where I have to go from here. When did this book come out? These are human stories.
No,
some of the people are fantastic. Some of the people less than so. This came out in 2019. So I must have bought this before the pandemic. So,
and you've still not made it through.
And, I probably bought it sometime around January of that year, because the card is my dear friend Dan Sullivan, who unfortunately passed away of cancer, and he was a big love, hope, strength guy, and he really went through the end. So this book is called Howard Stern Comes Again, and it's a series of his interviews.
That's not about the human experience.
Oh, yes, it is. Let's see. We've got Madonna, who was just in Dallas last night. We got Tracy Morgan, Jerry Seinfeld, and I'm on the chapter says, and now a word from our president. And it's a chapter. It's a whole interview from 1997 and November 4th, 19 years and 4 days until that guy got elected.
No comment.
You've got let's see. Harvey Weinstein, and he's a real good guy. Bill Murray, Rosie O'Donnell. I can't wait to read that one.
Obviously, because it's been sitting on your nightstand for 5 years.
Paul McCartney. I know. I pick them up. I turn it on. Leah Dunham, Jimmy Kimmel. They're good friends. Lady Gaga, Michael J. Fox, Ellen DeGeneres, Jimmy Fallon, Billy Joel, Amy Schumer, Bill O'Reilly. That should be fascinating. David Letterman. And
if you
there's
ever
an interview with his mother at the end of this. But this is Howard Stern Comes Again. This is what happens. I buy these things, and then they go in the stack, and I start reading them. And then if I don't finish them and something else comes my way, because I'm really bad at watching TV and then buying the book that someone's pitching on TV. I bought more books off of interviews on TV. So that's my nightstand. Pretty boring in contrast to yours.
Mine is there's a wide gamut of things that happen. I mean, I have a book where Quentin Tarantino is critiquing movies. I have everything. And I have the library because I don't get rid of books unless they're, something I don't feel is
yes. If one day we go on a tour of your house, we'll see the library.
There's a library of books and there's a library of DVD. I don't save all my books. I actually have a couple boxes of things I'm going to donate. I just haven't made it to.
You do what? I'm sorry. Who's on the other end of this?
You can't throw books away. That's heresy. Cannot throw books away. Should never throw books away. Go to used bookstores and try and hawk them. You can get a couple bucks. And one of the used bookstores in Ithaca, if they don't want to buy your books, you can donate them and they put them on a $1 rack so that they can be re-enjoyed. Because I am a very big proponent of books having multiple lives. 90% of the books that I purchase are used books. I do not buy new books.
You know me. I mean, how many books have you seen? I've given them away. I mean, I gave Ready.
Yes, you do. You give your books away give them a second life, which is good. And I like to. It's recycling, but for books. But yeah,
I think people should do it, especially since a lot of places in this country they're getting rid of libraries, like in schools and things, and people should have more books.
That's why I have to build my own library for after the apocalypse. People will have things to read. Of course, they'll have to be interested in the same things as me, but.
No, there's the rub. All right. Well, this has been a long chat. We covered a lot of ground.
I know. I thought it would give an insight.
This is definitely a more educational insight into us than most people do get. Typically, it's a nonsensical discussion about.
So, what are you reading, viewers? Are you reading real books? Are you reading Kindle books? What's on your nightstand? I want to know what book is on your nightstand. Tell me about it.
Put them in down below in the comments.
Subscribe. Leave me a name of a book. What else do I need to read that I haven't read already?
She will read your book. So, and if you
wrote a book, tell me. I'll do that.
That is true.
I'm open.
You've written a book and you want Kirstin to read it. We'll even do a review. Well, she'll do the review and I'll become educated about your book.
And he'll put it on his nightstand with a business card in it and he'll read it in 5 years.
Exactly. I'll get around to it.
But you'll have to send it to him directly because apparently if I send him a book, it will never get finished. Because that's been proven now multiple times.
Love you. Thank you for the gifts. Bye-bye.
Bye.
No.